We already knew some Republicans are taking credit in their home districts for the stimulus money coming their way, even though they voted against that stimulus money. But in our third story tonight, that's almost laudable compared to what other congressional Republicans are saying about the stim. Basically, it's the American version of the Russian Revolution. Let me warn you, you're going to hear excerpts from what may be the craziest interview in American political history. And if I use the terms craziest, Republican, and Congress, who else could I be talking about other than Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann? In the parallel universe in which she lives, this bill was not only a $787 billion payoff for Obama supporters, but also a total overhaul of the U.S. health care system. It is something no Democrat is even proposing, and a hijacking of the census and national gerrymandering to turn America into a one-party state. Why would Democrats bother to do that when Republicans seem hell-bent on doing it for them? Anyway, stand back. We have Bachmann.
This is the community organizer-in-chief, and he's paying off his best friend.
Exactly. Who is Mr. Obama paying off? No, not Halliburton or Blackwater. That would be fine. No, it's ACORN, a community group that works on issues like poverty and housing.
ACORN. This is a group that's under federal indictment for voter fraud. ACORN. You know how much they're getting under this bill?
Like $4 billion, I've heard.
$5 billion.
$5 billion
for ACORN.
First, ACORN is not under indictment. Some of its individual temporary workers were charged with voter fraud, fraud in which the victim was ACORN. And second, ACORN is not even named in the stimulus package. I mean, even House Republican leader John Boehner, also known as Dan Aykroyd's stunt double, only accused ACORN of being eligible for grants in things like, poverty and housing. Who else gets paid off by Obama? Entire congressional districts.
The have-nots will be the Republican districts that are left pouring money into Washington, D.C. to be redistributed out to the Democrat districts, which will suck up all the money. I don't know where they're going to go to get all this money because we're running out of rich people in this country.
Yeah, we are. We are running out of rich
under
people.
Under Obama, big evil is now anyone with a joint income of $100,000 or more. I truly believe that's probably going to lower to anyone with a joint income of $65,000 or more.
But Obama makes more than $100,000. And the district in Minnesota getting the most jobs from the stimulus? Michelle Bachmann's. At least until Obama redraws the districts.
The Census Bureau will report directly to the White House. Hey, for a community organizer-in-chief, that is the mother lode of all data so that he can redraw all of the redistricting lines so that Democrats can control by a wide majority every congressional seat across the country.
A, it was House Leader Tom DeLay, Republican of Texas, who redrew Texas. B, states do the redistricting. C, the census data is public. D, Democrats already control the House. Bachmann's ignorance perhaps explaining why she also fell for Betsy McCoy's canard about health care.
So now we'll have a national rationing board, and your doctor will no longer be able to make your health care decisions with you. Now a rationing board will be making those decisions.
I have no clue. And if by now you're wondering whether she's utterly Orwellian or just unwell, well...
Unfortunately, Republicans tend to just be nice guys, and they don't always fight back. And that's one quarrel that I have with Republicans.
Name three. As she neared the end, however, the Congresswoman did manage to utter one thing both factually true and soundly interpreted. It is quick, so don't miss it.
We are literally losing our country.
Yes, Congresswoman, you are, but don't blame Obama's governance for that. Blame your own. We're joined now by the Washington editor of The Nation magazine, Chris Hayes. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
I don't want to have you try to rebut her line by line. Anybody with Google and a brain can do that. But I do want your opinion on this mystery that I've raised. Is she A, dumb, B, crazy, or perhaps C, the perpetrator of the most brilliantly disguised brilliant political strategy in world history?
I have no idea about her mental state or her intellectual acuity. I think this sounds like someone who just gets the entirety of their politics from listening to Rush Limbaugh and reading townhall.com. And I really think that there is a significant portion of the Republican House caucus of whom that could be fairly said, that these are people that exist in this very intense, fervent, ideologically extreme, sheltered, withdrawn, inbred subculture of real hard right-wingery. And Michelle Bachmann is clearly example number one.
I saw a Bigfoot in Georgetown, right? What we didn't have time to play was much of the reaction from the straight man in the bit, who was a local Minnesota radio host. And mostly he was supplying the requisite, why didn't somebody stop these people lines? But when she advanced her theory in there that Obama had taken over the census so he can redraw the congressional districts, even this dope said, wait, the states are in charge of congressional districts. My question is, how does she fool enough people to get reelected last year?
Well, the first answer to that is that she's in a very Republican district. I mean, the second thing to say is that she came pretty close to screwing it up last election. Amazingly, after her train wreck interview on Chris Matthews' show, you know, she had a very tight race. I forget what the final numbers were, but I think she won by only about 3 or 4 points, a race that she had no business having any problem facing down a Democratic challenger. And so I do think that there is some kind of breaking point after which she will not be able to say things like this and expect the voters to keep sending her to Washington, even if it's a very conservative district.
So what does the Republican Party do now? How do you change a party when leaders like Congresswoman Bachmann and Governor Palin, to some degree, represent what people have now rejected about that party?
Yeah, you know, it's almost like, I was thinking, it's sort of like, you know, it's like when you reduce a stew or something. This is like, it's like each subsequent election, like more and more Republicans are boiled off until this is like, Michelle Bachmann is like the demi-glace of like Wingnutia, you know, and that's really what the House Republican caucus is coming to resemble. It's this very right-wing group of extremists, and I think they capture right now, they have the kind of control of the party apparatus largely, and I think that spells continued electoral relevance, thankfully, for the Republicans. I mean, they have to break out of this.
Yeah, I think the phrase is more power to them. I'll send in my donation to Congresswoman Bachmann any day of the week. Chris Hayes of The Nation, as always. Chris, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Keith.